Have you ever woken up, checked your blood sugar, and felt that heavy knot in your stomach, because the number was high again? Same dinner. Same pills. Same evening walk. Yet the meter tells a completely different story. And what if part of that mystery has nothing to do with what you ate, but with the temperature of the very first glass of water you reach for each morning? Welcome to Senior Decoded, where we skip the complicated health jargon, and focus on the quiet, everyday shifts that actually change how you feel after 60. I spend my days reading real glucose logs, listening to tired voices, and tracking the patterns that standard 15-minute visits simply do not have time to uncover. And the pattern? It is almost always the same. You are not doing anything wrong. You are just missing one small signal, one your body stopped sending clearly years ago. You measure carefully. You follow your schedule exactly. Yet your fasting number still jumps, leaving you wondering why your routine suddenly feels out of sync. Let me tell you about Martha. At 67, she sat across from me with a worn notebook in her hands, its corners softened from daily use, a faded pen tucked tightly into the spiral binding. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it to a heavily marked page. "I do everything they ask," she said softly. "Light dinner at 6. Pill at 8. 20-minute stroll after supper." She paused, then looked up. "But my fasting sugar jumps 25 points overnight. And I have absolutely no idea why." Her husband sat beside her, his hand resting gently on her shoulder, while she looked back down and whispered, "I just want to stop guessing." We reviewed her day together. Her meals were careful. Her timing was exact. Her activity was steady. On paper, she should have seen flat, predictable lines. Then we asked her one question, one that changed the entire conversation. "What do you actually drink the moment your eyes open? Before coffee? Before your medication? Before you even check the news?" She paused, genuinely unsure. "Just a small sip to swallow my morning tablet," she said. "Is that not enough?" And right there, it was sitting right there. 9 straight hours of sleep without fluids. Then another full hour of getting ready, before her cells finally received what they needed. Here is what happens inside your body after 60. Your brain gradually stops sending clear thirst signals. You can be running low, and feel completely normal. But at the cellular level, the mechanics begin to shift. When you are even slightly dry, your blood thickens, just enough to slow down circulation. That extra thickness makes it harder for insulin to reach your cells efficiently. At the same time, your body reads that mild dryness as low-grade stress, and your liver automatically releases stored glucose to compensate. The result? That frustrating morning spike, the one that appears even when your evening was flawless. Martha was not losing control of her health. She was simply missing the very first domino. Once we adjusted it, everything shifted. We kept every medication exactly the same. We did not change a single meal. We only changed when, and how, she started her mornings. 3 weeks later, those unpredictable overnight jumps simply stopped. Her numbers settled into a steady, manageable rhythm. She called me one quiet afternoon, her voice noticeably lighter, and said, "I finally feel like I understand my body again. So I want you to picture tomorrow morning. What would those first few numbers look like, if we adjusted that single, overlooked moment, before anything else even touches your lips? You do not need to try harder. You just need to work with the way your system actually processes fluids after 60. And here is what almost no one expects. The temperature of that very first glass alone can determine whether your blood vessels open smoothly, or tighten under stress. And your morning number follows that response, almost immediately. In the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through the exact morning shift that turned Martha's unpredictable spikes into calm, reliable mornings, and why getting this one detail right changes how the rest of your day handles sugar. Because once you see how the pieces connect, you will never look at that first glass the same way again. You saw how that single missed sip turned a quiet morning into a day of guessing. But what you really need to understand is why this happens so consistently after 60, and why the exact same routine that kept your numbers steady at 45 suddenly feels completely unreliable. It is not your fault. It is not a sudden loss of discipline. It is biology, quietly shifting the rules on you, piece by piece, while you are busy living your life. Let me walk you through exactly what changes inside your system, because once you see the mechanics, every confusing number starts making perfect sense. First, your natural thirst signal begins to fade. That inner alarm that used to wake you the moment you needed water, slowly becomes a faint whisper. By the time your mouth actually feels dry, you are already running low. Second, your cells gradually build a thicker resistance to insulin. The hormone still circulates, but it knocks on the door longer, and your cells take extra time letting energy inside. And third, your kidneys change how they filter sugar. Instead of clearing excess glucose quickly, they start moving more slowly, letting those extra molecules linger in your bloodstream right when you need them gone the most. Now, here is the number that stops most people in their tracks. Clinical research shows that being just 2% below your ideal hydration level, and I mean barely noticeable, something you would never feel on a regular day, can push your fasting glucose up by 10 to 15 points overnight. 10 to 15 points. That is enough to take you from steady to struggling. That is enough to make you question your entire routine. Think of your bloodstream like a quiet river, carrying supplies to every neighborhood in your town. When the water runs full and clear, everything floats smoothly to where it belongs. But pull that water level down even slightly, and the current turns thick and sluggish. The cargo gets stuck. The sugar piles up along the banks instead of reaching the homes that are waiting for it. It does not make you dizzy. It does not feel dramatic. It just quietly stacks extra numbers onto your meter, while you stand there wondering what step you missed. And here is the quiet truth most people never hear. Your body is not working against you. It is waiting for you to speak its language again. The moment you start matching your habits to its actual rhythm, the rhythm it settles into after 60, that sluggish current speeds back up. Those slow doors open more easily. And your liver finally stops releasing unnecessary sugar into your blood. So let me ask you something. If your thirst signal no longer warns you in time, how do you actually know when your cells need water? And more importantly, what are the 3 everyday drinking habits that feel completely normal? Habits like waiting for that first dry feeling in your mouth, reaching for ice water first thing to wake yourself up, or gulping down a full glass all at once just to catch up. Because every single one of them is quietly working against your blood sugar control. Once you see exactly why these 3 habits backfire, the formula for steadier mornings stops being a mystery, and starts feeling completely within your reach. You already know that waiting for thirst is a trap. So let us move straight to the habit that feels responsible, but actually leaves your cells still parched. When you finally realize you are behind on fluids, what is the very next thing you naturally do? You grab the largest glass you can find, and you drink it quickly to catch up. It feels completely right in the moment. But your cells simply cannot process a sudden flood. Your body absorbs roughly 1 standard cup, about 200 to 250 milliliters, every 15 minutes. Anything beyond that limit does not go to your tissues. It rushes straight through, fills your bladder, and leaves your cells exactly as thirsty as they were 10 minutes before you started drinking. Think of it like watering a dry garden bed in the middle of July. If you dump a full bucket onto hard, cracked soil in one heavy pour, most of the water just slides off the surface. The roots underneath stay completely thirsty. But when you water slowly, in steady, measured amounts, the soil actually drinks it in. That is how hydration works after 60. It is never about how much you force down at once. It is about how consistently you feed the system. And yet, even when people get the timing somewhat right, they still make one mistake that feels incredibly refreshing, while quietly working against their blood sugar at the exact moment they need support the most. I am talking about ice-cold water. Especially first thing in the morning. Or right before you sit down to eat. I completely understand why you reach for it. It wakes you up instantly. It feels crisp and clean, especially on a warm day. But cold liquid triggers an immediate physical response. It causes the blood vessels in your digestive tract, and throughout your body, to tighten and narrow. When those pathways constrict, insulin loses its smooth highway. It has to push through a much tighter space, moving slower, and working harder than it ever needs to. Glucose lingers longer. Your numbers rise, without warning. Room temperature or gently warm water does the exact opposite. It keeps your vessels naturally relaxed, wide open, and ready to deliver nutrients exactly where they belong. So here is one simple shift you can try tomorrow morning. Before your coffee. Before your pills. Before you even check your phone. Pour 1 glass of warm water, about the size of a standard cup, and sip it slowly, while you take 3 deep breaths. That is it. No extra effort. No new supplement. Just warmth, timing, and patience. This single adjustment alone has helped people see their morning numbers settle within days, not because it is magic, but because it finally matches how your body actually processes fluids after 60. You are not failing. You are just following habits that were never designed for how your system changes as you age. And once you step out of that cycle, the shift happens faster than you might expect. In the next module, I am going to show you how to build on this one win, with 2 more precise timing points, creating a simple daily rhythm that turns unpredictable mornings into calm, steady numbers, while working fully alongside your current medication routine. Because when you finally know precisely when to take that first sip, and exactly how to prepare it, your body stops guessing. And finally starts cooperating. And once you lock in both of these habits, your blood sugar stops feeling like a daily guessing game, and starts following a rhythm you can finally trust. Before we move into the next part, if what you have heard so far is making sense of something you have been quietly wondering about, take just a second to like and share this video with someone who could use this kind of clarity. Your thoughts and questions genuinely matter to me, so drop a comment below and let me know what is resonating, or what you would like me to dig into further. I read everything you share, and if you want to make sure these sessions find their way to you without any searching, subscribe to the channel right now and hit that bell icon. That way, the next piece of the picture is always waiting for you. Now let us keep going, because what comes next is where it really starts to click. You already have your first win with that warm morning sip. Now let us turn that single step into a complete daily reset, one your metabolism can actually rely on. I call this the H3 method. It simply stands for hydration across 3 precise timing points, supported by 3 essential elements that make the difference between water that just slips right through you, and water your cells actually use. Timing point number 1, your morning anchor. This is the single most important habit you will build this week. The exact moment your eyes open, before coffee, before medication, before you even glance at your phone, you drink 1 full glass of warm water. About 12 ounces. And here is the exact detail that changes how your body responds. You add just a tiny pinch of natural sea salt. Barely what rests on the tip of a butter knife. Followed by a gentle squeeze of half a fresh lemon. After 8 straight hours of sleep, your system is not just missing fluids. You have naturally lost electrolytes, through breathing, normal sweating, and overnight cellular processes. That small pinch of sea salt returns sodium, potassium, and magnesium in a balance your cells instantly recognize. Without those trace minerals, water slips straight through you, without ever entering the tissues that need it most. With them, your cells open their doors and pull it in efficiently. The lemon adds a subtle natural acidity, gently waking your digestive enzymes and helping steady your liver's response to the very first meal of your day. And most people completely overlook this part. Your natural morning stress hormone, cortisol, peaks right after you wake up. And it automatically signals your liver to release stored glucose into your bloodstream. When you start the day dehydrated, that signal turns up much louder. But when you begin with warm, mineral-balanced water, you gently calm that automatic stress response, which softens that early glucose release, before you even take your first bite of food. Now, a quick and important note before we continue. If you are managing high blood pressure, heart conditions, or kidney concerns alongside your diabetes, always run this by your doctor before adding even a small pinch of salt to your morning water. For most people, this tiny amount is completely safe. But because your personal health picture is unique, it is always wise to clear small daily changes with your care team first. Let me tell you about Robert. He was 71. He had been managing type 2 diabetes for over a decade. And his fasting numbers sat stubbornly in the high 170s every single morning, despite careful dinners, consistent walks, and perfect medication timing. We made only one change to his routine. Warm water. A tiny salt pinch. Half a lemon. Sipped slowly while he read the morning paper, at least 20 minutes before his coffee or his pills. We did not adjust his diet. We did not change his prescription. 3 weeks later, his average fasting reading settled into the low 130s, day after day. He called me in the middle of a regular work week and said, "I did not realize how heavy and foggy my mornings had become, until they finally felt clear again." But here is what almost everyone misses, even once their mornings stabilize. Morning hydration alone will not protect you from the sharpest glucose swings of your entire day. That happens when you sit down to eat. The real turning point comes when you pair this morning reset with exactly what you do 15 minutes before lunch, and 15 minutes before dinner. Because timing that second glass correctly does something remarkable to your digestion. It gently slows down how quickly carbohydrates enter your bloodstream, which means your available insulin never falls behind during a meal. That simple shift is often the exact difference between a heavy afternoon slump and steady, reliable energy that lasts all the way to evening. So I want you to ask yourself something right now. If your morning glass is already setting the stage, what is happening with your water right before you eat? Because the gap between a sharp post-meal spike and a smooth, manageable rise comes down to one tiny timing adjustment, one that takes less than 10 seconds to master. And once you lock in both of these habits, your blood sugar stops feeling like a daily guessing game, and starts following a rhythm you can finally trust. You already know how to start your morning with purpose. Now let us lock in the 2 timing points that protect you from the biggest blood sugar swings of your entire day. Timing point number 2, before you eat. This one happens just 15 minutes before you sit down for lunch or dinner. You drink 1 small glass of room temperature water, about 1 standard cup, and you sip it slowly while you prepare your plate. This simple habit does something powerful inside your digestive system. It gently wakes up your stomach enzymes. It signals your body that food is coming. And most importantly, for your blood sugar, it slightly dilutes the contents of your stomach so carbohydrates break down more gradually. When carbs enter your bloodstream slowly, instead of all at once, your available insulin can actually keep up with demand. Your numbers rise in a gentle, steady wave, instead of spiking sharply and leaving you tired and foggy by mid-afternoon. In practice, this one small shift often reduces post-meal spikes noticeably, sometimes by as much as 20%. And that is often the exact difference between feeling like you are barely holding on, and feeling like you are finally back in control. Timing point number 3, while you move. This one is for the moments when you are active, whether that is a morning walk, gardening, light housework, or any activity that lasts longer than 20 minutes. Here is the rule. Sip about half a cup of water every 15 minutes while you are moving, not just when you finish. Small, frequent sips keep your blood volume stable and prevent the sudden drops or rises that often happen when you exert yourself with diabetes. Think of it like keeping a steady flame on a stove, instead of turning the heat all the way up, and then all the way off again. Consistency protects you from the swings. Now, you already know about temperature and minerals from your morning anchor. Warm water keeps vessels open. That tiny pinch of sea salt helps your cells actually absorb what you drink. But the third essential element? It is the one most people underestimate. Consistency. Drinking water at the same times every single day trains your entire metabolic system to expect support. Your liver, your pancreas, your kidneys, they all thrive on predictable cues. Morning water at the same hour. Pre-meal water at regular intervals. This rhythm directly helps stabilize your blood sugar patterns over time. And here is one more addition I often recommend, for deeper overnight support. About 1 hour before bed, sip a small glass of warm water with a modest amount of magnesium citrate or glycinate dissolved in it. Magnesium plays a crucial role in insulin function. And many adults over 60 run quietly low on this essential mineral. Taking it before sleep serves 2 purposes. It helps your muscles relax for more restorative rest, and it supports steadier blood sugar throughout the night. A gentle reminder, if you have any kidney concerns, or take medications that affect mineral balance, always check with your doctor before adding magnesium or adjusting your fluid routine. Your safety always comes first. Now, I know the question that is on your mind. How much water is actually enough? Here is a simple, no-math formula you can start using today. Take your body weight in pounds. Divide that number by 2. And that result, in ounces, is your baseline daily target. If you weigh 160 pounds, aim for about 80 ounces, roughly 10 standard cups, spread across your waking hours. If you are active, or spend time in warm weather, add 1 extra cup for every 20 minutes of activity or heat exposure. And the easiest way to know if you are on track. Check your urine color. Pale yellow, like lemonade, is your goal. Not completely clear. That can mean you are overdoing it. And not dark amber, which signals you need to catch up. Pale yellow means you are in the sweet spot. So let me ask you directly. If you started tomorrow, warm water before breakfast, a small glass 15 minutes before meals, and steady sips while you move, what would your fasting number actually show when you woke up the following morning? Because once these timing points become your new rhythm, Your blood sugar stops feeling like a daily surprise and starts following a pattern you can finally trust. In the final module, I am going to walk you through exactly what to expect over your first 14 days, how to read your glucose log without anxiety, and the one specific morning reading that tells you, unmistakably, that your body has shifted into a new and steadier rhythm. Because the goal is not perfection. It is progress you can feel, numbers you can rely on, and mornings that finally start with confidence instead of guesswork. You already know the 3 timing points that turn unpredictable mornings into steady days. Now let us talk about what actually happens when you put it all together. Because the first 2 weeks, this is where everything changes. I want to invite you to a simple 14-day challenge. Just 2 weeks. Follow the H3 method exactly as we have walked through it together. Warm water with a tiny salt pinch and lemon before breakfast. A small glass 15 minutes before lunch and dinner. Steady sips while you move. And that gentle magnesium water before bed, if your doctor clears it. Track your fasting number each morning. And simply notice how you feel by mid-afternoon. That is it. No perfection required. No heavy pressure. Just consistent, kind attention to the rhythm your metabolism has been waiting for. Here is what most people experience in practice. In the first few days, you may visit the bathroom a little more often. This is completely normal. Your system is simply adjusting to proper fluid levels, clearing what it no longer needs, and learning to retain what actually matters. By days 5 through 7, something subtle begins to shift. Your morning number may not drop dramatically yet, but it starts feeling less like a surprise, and more like a pattern. You might notice your energy lasting a little longer after lunch. That afternoon fog lifting, just enough to make space for clear thinking. Then, in week 2, the changes become much easier to track. Your fasting readings begin to cluster in a tighter band. Your post-meal numbers rise more gently. And here is the specific sign I want you to watch for. The moment your fasting number stays within a 10-point range for 3 mornings in a row. That is your body's clear signal that the new rhythm is taking hold. That is the unmistakable proof that your cells are finally receiving the steady support they have been asking for. Before you begin, a quick and important note. If you manage kidney concerns, heart conditions, or take medications that affect fluid balance, please loop your doctor into this plan before you start. This approach is designed to strengthen your current care routine, not replace it. And any adjustments to your prescription should always be guided by your medical team. Let me tell you about Eleanor. She was 76 when she tried this rhythm. She had been managing type 2 diabetes for nearly 20 years. Her A1C had climbed to 8.4, and her care team was gently discussing whether it was time to consider insulin therapy. Eleanor felt completely worn out. She had followed every guideline, attended every class, measured every bite for 2 decades. Yet it still felt like her body was slowly drifting, out of reach. We started with just the morning anchor. Warm water. Tiny salt pinch. Half a lemon. Sipped slowly, before anything else touched her lips. 2 weeks later, her fasting numbers settled from the high 160s into the low 140s. 1 month in, her afternoon stamina returned, enough that she started tending her vegetable patch again. Something she had quietly stepped away from 3 years earlier, because the exhaustion had simply won out. 3 months later, her A1C came back at 7.1, tracked carefully alongside her medical team, every step of the way. She did not tear up because the number dropped. She wept because she genuinely felt like herself again. And she told me something I keep coming back to. I spent 20 years pushing myself to try harder. What I actually needed was a rhythm that worked smarter. So here is my invitation to you. Start tomorrow morning. 1 glass. Warm water, small salt pinch, half a lemon, before coffee, before your pills, before you check your phone. Add the pre-lunch glass. Then pre-dinner. Then steady sips while you move. Let your system learn the pattern. Track your numbers without judgment. Notice the shift, without pressure. And after 14 days, ask yourself one straightforward question. Did my fasting reading surprise me? If the answer is yes, keep going. Make this your daily normal. Write down what changes. Your 14-day journey is worth keeping. And sharing it might be the exact nudge someone else needs to take that very first sip. Because this is never about flawless execution. It is about steady progress you can actually feel. Patterns you can depend on. And not just mornings that begin with quiet confidence, but days that end with it too. If even one sentence made you think, I can try this tomorrow, please pass this along to one person who is tired of carrying the weight alone. A parent. A spouse. A friend who still feels that heavy knot in their stomach every time they check their meter. You truly never know which small adjustment will be the one that shifts everything. Because once you see how the pieces connect, you will never look at that first glass the same way again. If this information has given you a sense of hope, or a new tool for your health journey, please like and share this video with someone who needs to see it. I genuinely value your feedback, so leave your thoughts or questions in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you want to stay informed with more content like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you are always the first to know.